Imagine now, we have to be very honest about where our, kind of dream customer, our dream 100, what are they doing? Do they really want to buy your Tripwire product for $7? No, they don't. If I am open to learning about something and you shove me into what is clearly a sales funnel, I am out of there so quickly. That's not how I do business. I do business person to person. I talk with people. I network with other big solution providers, and I hire a lot of people. I have a lot of consultants and agencies that I pay, and every single one of them I met in a green room. I met through introductions. That is how big ticket people buy.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the High Level Spotlight Sessions, where we showcase awesome marketers doing awesome marketing. Today, I'm psyched to be joined by Josh Elledge. He's the founder and CEO of Up My Influence, a consultancy that helps agencies and coaches fill their sales schedule with dream customers without paid ads and without spammy marketing. Josh, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, Chase, thanks for having me. Listen, I'm so excited to be here because I have become a total Go High Level nerd over the past 12, 16 months, I think. Just love the platform. It is absolutely our business operating system. I've been so grateful for all of the evolutions over the past year, and I'm so excited to just continue to live in this environment and see what comes next.
That's great. Well, we're psyched to have you aboard, and we're happy to talk to you today about prospecting from a unique sort of angle. Specifically, I'm excited to talk to you about high ticket. I feel like a lot of us that come into the agency world, we start, the natural evolution is your friends and family's web guy, web girl. They're coming to you for these small projects. You think, hey, maybe I could make a go with this and maybe even quit my job. But we kind of start with smaller projects, right? And then we work our way up to like a $2,500 a month services retainer. Like, wouldn't that be amazing? Yeah. But the idea of high ticket, it just can't, for a lot of folks, I feel like it feels like a fantasy. It feels like, you hear people selling stuff like that, but that's not like,
And sadly, there's a lot, I see a lot of gurus dispensing advice on this. And unfortunately, what I see a lot of is the same advice that you would give to someone who is selling something small ticket. And I find that does a tremendous disservice to the service provider. Most of the people, so we've got about 180 clients at this point, and all of them, they're all at a minimum six-figure business owners to begin with. That's generally kind of our threshold that we look for. They already need to have a little bit of momentum. They need to have some decent authority. But most importantly is they need to believe if they are doing account-based marketing and sales, that they need to honor that. And they need to recognize that high-ticket sales, I don't care. Listen, and there's going to be some people that are just going to end the podcast right now because they don't want to hear it. But I'm sorry, if you believe otherwise, you've been sold a bill of goods. It just absolutely does not work. Big ticket sales, it just involves relationships. No one is going to buy your $20,000 product fully automated. Nobody does that. You are going to have to build a relationship there. And so my suggestion is that, if you truly want to build a relationship with your dream customers, and those dream customers are key decision makers at, companies that are doing quite well, you're going to have to build a lot of know, like, and trust. So now, you can do that on slow speed through a lot of content and a lot of, relationship building over a long period of time, or you could do kind of what we teach and what we perform for all of our clients. And that is that we systematize the process of building meaningful friendships and relationships with those dream ideal personas. But here's the thing is I just use that word systematize, right? Because I want to systematize it on the back end. And we'll talk very specifically about how we use Go High Level to do that, because the same system that we do for all of our clients, obviously we use it ourselves. And it works very, very well. In fact, this is crazy, Chase, is that, 3 years ago, I wasn't even doing this work. I was I was doing media consulting, but we had developed this system and then vastly improved this system when we migrated to Go High Level. And it became so successful that our clients started asking us for this support to be able to help with their internal big ticket sales. And now, we don't even do media services. It was about 2 years ago. I fired all of our PR clients because I just, felt like I was doing like B minus level work over on the PR side. I mean, it was good, not great. Right. But for whatever reason, it just, we took this approach, internally, it worked out really well. And, our first client asked us if we could help her out with some internal sales stuff. And she ended up making $175K in 90 days. For her, that was life-changing. She had a $25,000 mastermind. So yeah, this is.
So let me jump in and ask you a quick question.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure people are wondering. Let's define what we're talking: low ticket, high ticket. What is your threshold? What do you think is the barrier?
So for us, we have a requirement. Let me tell you. So our requirement is that our clients are at a minimum $5,000 to $8,000, and that would be the average lifetime value. So. Okay. It's okay if you're only charging like $1,200, $1,500 a month, and consistently you have a track record of the value of that client ends up renewing enough times that over time, we're going to get north of 5 to 8. Now, that said, I believe that a lot of the principles that I'm talking about are going to be appropriate for products that are north of $2,000. However, as we get closer to like around $2,000, you're just going to want to be sensitive to make sure that you've got good return on investment. And that, again, you're making smart decisions based on predictable sales conversion rates, predictable revenue, predictable activity. Then we can justify what I'm going to suggest, right? Okay. Because obviously, you're going to have to invest some resources, time, effort, money, et cetera, into attracting business this way. And look, you could either invest money and time and money to hanging out on Clubhouse. You could invest time and money into, buying ads. I just happen to believe that that's not where high ticket decision makers are hanging out. They're just not. I think a lot of that is a little bit of a circle jerk.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. If I come to you, Josh, and I'm like, hey, okay, I've got a mastermind. It's 20 grand or $15,000. And I need help selling this thing. Yep. Where are they hanging out? What's the process? Walk me through the first couple of things that I'm going to start doing.
Right. So imagine now, we have to be very honest about where our, kind of dream customer, our dream 100, what are they doing? Do they really want to buy your Tripwire product for $7? No, they don't. If I am open to learning about something and you shove me into what is clearly a sales funnel, I am out of there so quickly. That's not how I do business. I do business person to person. I talk with people. I network with other big solution providers, and I hire a lot of people. I have a lot of consultants and agencies that I pay, and every single one of them I met in a green room. I met through introductions. That is how big ticket people buy. All right. With one exception. And that is that, if they're basically putting out RFPs and if you're an agency owner, you know how lovely that is. Someone's like, all right, yeah, give us a quote, and we're getting a quote from you and like 5 other people. Okay, yeah. That's the only exception to that. Other than that, everybody else is doing business through relationships. And you know what? It's good old fashioned networking. But let me not overcomplicate this. This is a really important point I want to make sure that I communicate. Revenue, and we're talking about account-based sales, right? So not full sales automation type stuff. You're going to have to talk with people, you're going to have to make sure that they've got a good level of comfort, et cetera. Okay. Revenue. And to our listener or friend that's listening right now, let me know where I lose you. I'm going to try and make this really simple. I don't mean to be sassy here, but here's how it is, right? Revenue comes from closed sales. All right. Got it. With me so far. Where do closed sales come from? Yeah, closed sales come from sales conversations.
Sure.
We've already established that for higher ticket, you're going to have a conversation. Okay, so if you want more conversions, okay, you could spend a lifetime trying to become a better salesperson. I don't believe that's a long and hard path. I would much rather, the most people that I work with don't want to be expert salespeople. They just want to be genuine. They want to be who they are. They love what they do. They love making an impact in the world. They are cool with building relationships and building friendships authentically without the pressure of fancy closing techniques and all that other stuff. And plus, I'll tell you, with my background in 15, 16 years in studying consumer behavior, and that's where I've been in the media over 2,500 times, most of that is around consumer behavior and teaching consumer skills. Most people don't want to be sold at that way anymore. And when I say most, I mean like 99% of people. Who wants to be hard sold anymore?
And you also mentioned like tripwire stuff, right? Like I'm thinking in my head to several proposals that I have in my inbox right now for high ticket needs that we have at high level, right? And I can think of 3 right now. And all 3, as you started saying this, I was thinking, how did I meet those 3 people? Like, how did I come to even be in a sales conversation with them? Yeah. And all of them are over $5,000 a month. And it was all through introductions.
Isn't that interesting? But yeah, they're not
it wasn't like I didn't go claim a lead magnet from any of them. I'm not like being nurtured by, a clearly automated sequence, although some of them have follow-up, which is good.
Yes.
But yeah,
we'll talk about that.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're definitely going to talk. We'll talk about follow-up because that's a critical point of this and why Go High Level is such an amazing platform for that. Right. Okay, getting back to, so we need more sales conversation because again, I believe that the antidote to a stagnating business is you just need to be talking with more people. Right. So we need to be having more sales conversations. So again, if you want to have more sales conversations, you're just going to need to have more conversations with people that have ability and desire to pay, people that fit your dream customer persona, right? They're qualified. So you need to be building more and more and more relationships. So let's say out of 100, new conversations that you have over the next 6 months or something like that, out of that, you're going to have a serious sales conversation with maybe half of them. Half of them, they're not looking for your thing, right? And out of that 50, that you have a serious sales conversation. And so when I say you don't even have a sales conversation with, you should have the good sense to not even bring it up. If you could tell that they're not looking, you've already assessed for a need and they say, no, we're not really looking for that. Change the subject. Stop talking about it. Don't keep selling. And it's so uncomfortable when you do, when folks do that. Anyway, let's say 50%. Yeah. Tell me about your thing. Now, out of that, let's say that, only 20% feel like your solution is the right solution for them at that time to solve their problem. Okay. Those are really reasonable numbers. So, 20% of the 50 is 10 people. However, if your product is $20,000 a piece, that's $200,000 for 10 sales. Is $200,000 makes sense to build relationships with another, 90 people who didn't buy your product. Now, before you say, man, I don't know, maybe, let me sweeten the pot here. Those 90 people in typical sales, okay? And that's why I want you to think about this. In typical sales, you get some people go, yes, I want your product. And most people will say, no, I don't want your product. And then they're gone. In this case, okay, if there's one thing you remember out of my conversation here today, go buy Bob Burg's book, The Go-Giver. And if you've only been listening to sales automation gurus that have filled your head with, your one funnel away kind of stuff, nothing against that. However, for big ticket sales, it's just not appropriate. There's opportunity for automation. We'll get to that later. Okay. Bob Burg will teach you in the Go-Giver. You can either get the red book or the green book. The green book is specifically about selling. I would say if you want the masterclass, read both books. Okay. You want to lead with generosity to make people feel, and you want to create an environment for people where they don't feel sold to so that they relax and that they feel like they could just have an awesome business leader to business leader conversation with you. That is where business gets done. All right. So in this case, where we're really focused on relationships first, the 90 who did not buy, you will be doing other things with them. Okay. You'll be joint venturing. You'll get invites to speak. You'll get invites to be a guest on their platforms, their podcasts, et cetera. Right. And so, in fact, I remember one of my clients, he sells $10,000 a month consulting package. He had, by the time we'd had this conversation, he had sold 3 of them. He said, honestly, Josh, the other 20 people that I've talked with who have not purchased yet, cumulatively, way more valuable for me. I've gotten invited to be on a panel. I've got introductions. High level networking is honestly, I would argue, if we're kind of getting into our Michael Gerber E-Myth, if you're the founder, CEO of your company, you should be doing one thing. You should be growing your company. I would argue that high level networking, show me some stuff that's more important than that. I could just tell you based on my life, it is almost like when you start building relationships with that many centers of influence, it is like you drank the Harry Potter lucky juice. Like, just good stuff happens for you because of who you know and the relationships that you honestly and genuinely invest into. If you like people, even if you're introverted, but you like individual relationships, it feels so good to come into work each day when you don't have to worry about selling. You could just focus on investing into relationships and just being a good person. That for me is in integrity with who I am.
So I like all of this so far, but being the voice of the listener who might be a little skeptical here, I agree with you. I want to have conversations. I want to, build my network, but to have a conversation with somebody, I have to get in front of them somehow. Right. So talk to me about how you teach people that. I don't know all these people. I want to converse with every one of them, but if I send them a cold email, they're probably not going to reply to me. So where do I go from there?
That's right. Yeah. So a lot of the lead gen world, sadly, it's still not evolved. And I've interviewed dozens of great lead gen companies, right? Great, well-meaning leaders. They're doing the best that they can. It's harder to sell relationships than it is. It's easy to sell turnkey, easy kickback, grab a drink, sit on the beach. That's really easy to sell, sadly. And a lot of people will buy that. The sad fact is does it work for you? How many of the cold spammy emails that you get in your inbox every day do you honestly respond to and say, yeah, baby, let's get going? Or people sliding into your DMs, or people that are low key selling on social with their marketing techniques. Most sophisticated buyers, most people that have been in the game for a number of years, recognize everything for what it is. In fact, if you do a lot of research about consumer behavior today, that we are dealing with a population that has been wildly experimented upon by marketers, especially so over the past 10 years. The American Marketing Association estimates that the average American is exposed to over 700 brand and sales messages a day. So what does that do to a population? Well, it creates a hyper-resistant population. We are all on guard. And if we're being honest, right, unless you don't have anything to do, right, then if you're busy doing your thing, which decision makers are, I have layers of boundaries. I have layers of people that try to make sure that I can stay focused on the things that I need to do. And when people still try to find ways to interrupt me, it's usually not met with a lot of yeah, sure, let me give you a half hour, an hour of my time. Yeah. I know what I'm doing. I don't need a whole lot right now. We've got a great team. I've got great people. I'm always, looking for great partnerships and opportunities and so forth. But if you're leading in a relationship and you're a me monster, I think Brian Regan coined that term. But it's all about what you want. The relationship's not going to get real far. Think of the same thing in dating. If that's how you come across and it's all about what you want right now, here and now, that's just weird. Relationships take time. Relationships take effort. And if you're not willing to do that, then you ought not to be in high ticket sales. You need to go find something else to do.
But again, let's say I'm willing. I'm willing, Josh. Tell me what to do.
Oh, yeah.
How do
yeah,
I
yeah,
cut
yeah,
to the
yeah, yeah.
dragon?
Okay. All right. I had to get some groundwork out of the way first. All right. So if you're with me so far, you might not like everything that I'm telling you, but stick with me. Okay. So where are these people? Okay. So first off, leads, people are everywhere. It's ridiculously easy to build a lead list. There's no value in a lead list, right? Anyone can use some tools and put together a lead list. It's execution of what to do with those lead lists. That's where everyone generally screws up. So if you do that and you reach out to me cold, you better have a really good, compelling reason for me to engage. And it's not going to be something to do with buying your product, because we are not at that relationship level yet. And it is wildly inappropriate to shove a product in front of me when you haven't even bothered to figure out who I am and do I even have a need. That is just like, that's like running around on dating sites and saying, let's get married, let's get married, let's get married, let's get married. Okay, you're not honoring the relationship. So what can we do? You got to be cool. All right. And you got to take your sales hat and you got to put it on a shelf. And you might not like doing that. And you might be afraid of this, but let me just tell you. All right. And again, once you read those 2 books by Bob Burg, The Go-Giver, which I don't work for Bob, I just absolutely live that philosophy. I lead with generosity. So you give away what other people are not willing to give away because they're living a scarcity mindset. You are living a generous mindset. Listen, if this is an A-lister, okay, here's one thing that I've known about successful business leaders. They will almost always reciprocate. Very few people at that level are living at a level of desperation and scarcity.
I want to jump in there because I think that's actually pretty profound. I think that's very true, especially because the more successful you get, the more higher profile you get, the more sensitive you are of your public image and perception, right? So for us at high level, we're hypersensitive to anybody who does something for us. We need to pay it back tenfold because we never want anybody out there having anything negative to say about us in as far as us getting more advantage or benefit than we have given. And so I think that's pretty interesting when you say that.
I would also argue that that's why they're there. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't be at that position if they were a taker. So listen, let me just share. I want to share this too. The world doesn't need more fast talking sales and marketing people. I think it doesn't. We're good. We're all filled up with that. What the world wants and needs. And I can tell you now, I've had over 1,300 conversations over the past 2.5, 3 years with 6, 7, 8, 9-figure business leaders. And again, I'll share exactly how I do that in just a second. And what I can tell you is that, those folks at my level, folks at your level, folks that are serious about business, like they love just having a relaxing conversation about the things that they're passionate about without any just like motivation. Like, in fact, if someone asks me, well, do you want, is your intention to sell me your product? I would throw my hands up. I wouldn't do it like that, but I'm like, I don't know that. I don't know. Like, that's up to you. Maybe let's just, let's figure out if there's an opportunity for for us to collaborate or work together. I don't know. Cause I really don't. Right. Everybody coming into my world, I don't like to refer to them as a lead. It's a new relationship. Right. And so we might do business together, and I am okay with 80% of those people. I am going to give generously to the 100. If we never do business together, you know what? I feel so good about what I do. And I've got budget wise, it works out very well because what I know statistically is about 20% of the people do this. Okay. So we got to figure out, and Chase, this is really important. We got to figure out what is the thing that we can give away. Again, you'll learn this in the Go-Giver. You're going to have to give away something that your dream audience truly, truly wants, right? They probably don't want white papers. I don't know. What I would do is I would try to come up with a reason that you and this other person can spend time together. Here's one thing I learned. And this people ask, how did you get in the media 2,500 times? I'll tell you exactly how I did it. What I did is I identified who the gatekeepers were. And I recognize, I'm like, what do they need in order to look really good at their job? Right? I'm more concerned about them. I'm more concerned about the broadcaster, the journalist, or the DJ, or whoever. Like, I want to make them look good. So going into it, listen, this is really, here's another profound thing. I don't know, is whatever and this is tweetable, so get ready. Okay. Whatever your intention is, you broadcast it on all channels. In other words, we know what your intention is from the moment we begin that. At the very beginning of the relationship, we know exactly what you want. So for you to be out of alignment, where you say one thing but really you want something else, okay, you can't do it. You can't fake it today, because again, we have a hyper-resistant population. People have their guard up. Never is the world population, especially key decision makers, have they been more skeptical? Have they been more on guard? Have they been more protective of their time and attention? So what we've learned for us is that what is something that I could do that could earn me time with them? See, if you can get time together with this other person, this decision maker, here's something I learned in college. Don't do this, kids. Do not get a degree in family science. I did. You're not going to go very far with a bachelor's degree in family science. But lo and behold, that's what I got. Now I ended up getting into internet development, and that was my career path. But one thing I did, I actually did a lot of research, and I presented on this concept of, I don't know if you remember, like the debate of, parents will say, well, I don't spend much time with my kids, but when I do, it's quality time, right? That's usually the busy parents mantra. And, then you start hearing cats in the cradle in the backyard and in the background and stuff like that. So here's what we've learned is that there is a magic in proximity. Time together, especially live and in person, there's just something that happens where we start to connect with that other person. So the more time that you can spend together, the more that relationship is going to grow. The proximity leads to familiarity. Okay. Familiarity leads to know, like, and trust, which everybody knows. Okay. We only, at the high ticket level, we only do business, with the exception of the whole RFP situation and bids and contracts and all that stuff. But generally, for the most part, we only do business with people that we know, like, and trust and have a relationship with. And so
that's really funny, because what jumped into my head was we have been using a consultant for one specific thing for a little over a month now, and it's going very well.
Awesome. And
that person, again, I'm trying to think how we got introduced to them. But anyway, he mentioned that, he could do this stuff. Oh, it's through Twitter. But so got on a call with him, had a great call. And I'm like, I think this person can fill the need that we have, but I'm not sure. And it's, a higher priced service. So I don't want to screw this up, but I'm not at the point where I can give a yes or a no. So I started sort of inventing questions to ask him that weren't super critical to the decision. I just wanted to get back on a Zoom with him and chat. And that was really what I think I did that 2 or 3 times. Like, hey, can I ask you about this? It's kind of tangentially related to what we're trying to do. And we hopped on a Zoom, 2 or 3 of them, and just kind of chatted. And through those conversations, I built the confidence to say, this is the guy.
Yes.
And that's fascinating, because subtly I was knowing, like, this question doesn't really matter. I just want an excuse to get back on Zoom with that guy.
Yeah. So, Tony Robbins talks about, I mentioned I had the opportunity to speak for the Business Mastery audience. And so, Tony will talk about, urban and lurban. So urban, emotional reasons for buying now. That's how we buy. Once we make an emotional commitment or an emotional connection, emotional decision, then we justify it with logical reasons. So, emotionally, I want to do this thing. Logically, help me justify this. And so, and that's how we all buy. And so, in sales, I am of the opinion that if you have 30 minutes with somebody, I would much rather invest into the relationship, dive into the relationship. And even if I don't get all of the sales talking points in, like, I am so cool with that. I'll talk with them about Marvel and Star Wars and what, like, I've had conversations where I remember one conversation in particular, we spent 20 minutes he had a drum set in his background. And man, we just talked about classic rock, or we talked about music for 20 minutes. And then the last 10 minutes, I was like, oh, shoot, I guess we're probably supposed to be talking about stuff. So, but because he liked, because he had that opportunity to, just spend time, and we're just relaxed and we're just, shooting the breeze and stuff like that, there's always another call. I mean, unless you got some kind of deadlines or something like that up against, which, by the way, one of the biggest enemies to sales success is pressure to sell. If when you wake up in the morning, your first thought is, who am I going to sell to today? Man, it is so hard. I've been in that position. It sucks. And it is, I'm telling you, your conversion rate is just, it's wildly different than if you are just like, you know what, all I know is I'm here. I am the person to make a really great impact in the world. And sometimes that means we work together and they buy my product. Sometimes I'm just here to, be a cool person and just, and do what I can to help this person. Now, remember we were talking about like scarcity mindsets versus abundance mindsets, generally big ticket decision makers and founders and CEOs and so forth of, high level leaders of successful companies. They're very abundant mindset. I just had a conversation with a client yesterday. He said, hey, I had a cash flow situation that just came up, it's like $100,000. And so, I need to put off starting on our thing, for about 30 days. It's not a problem. I'm not concerned about that. What I'm really, focused on is I love what you do and I want to help this work. And I want to help make an impact with you. And, it's like, and I looked at his reaction. He was like, man, that's classy. That's cool. And he said, man, I respect that so much, but I want you to know that I don't ever want to take anything from you. I want to make sure that you and it was just so funny. It was almost like this, almost like we're each like trying to outgive each other with our trust and generosity because we had spent that time to build that relationship and that friendship first. How cool is that versus you feeling pressure to say the magical words or to have magical hypnotic sales copy or something like that? Nothing against people who provide those services. But for me, personality wise, I love just being able to relax and just like, can you believe that I get paid to just build friendships with people? Like, it's a dream scenario.
So let's go. I'm with you, but again, I feel like we meandered off of.
I know. I keep getting into philosophy.
Still wondering, okay, how do I get these conversations?
Okay. All right. So here's the thing. I know
you've got some tactics.
Yeah. Lead gen's no problem. Okay, so make the list, right? Okay. Now, what are you going to reach out to those people? What are you going to give them that's truly going to get their attention?
Yeah. Okay? What are you going to give? That's yourself, the key word, right?
What do they want, right? Now, for us, what we've learned is that if we can leverage platform could mean any number of things. Now, I've been podcasting for a while. I'm comfortable with that. So it was a very easy thing for me to say, well, wait a minute. What would happen? It's going to cost us some money, definitely going to cost me some time. But what would happen if I leveraged, a true how to win friends, influence people kind of approach, and I'm just going to celebrate other people. I'm going to make other people look and feel amazing. I might end up getting business out of it. I might not. I'm okay with that because I'm going to feel good every day. So I took my podcast, The Thoughtful Entrepreneur, and you can go look at it. You can go see everything that I do. You are listening to me have, in most cases, my initial conversation with people that are potentially going to become a partner, customer, something like the client of ours. And so you're hearing me kind of vet people. And, I've published now getting close to 1,300 episodes with, we've got like another 50 to 60 in the can that haven't even been published yet. And this is so crazy. So we use our podcast, right? And so now here's the thing. And I cannot stress this enough. for you money hungry marketers out there, if you look at what I'm talking about, and you start rubbing your hands together and twirling your mustache kind of thing, and you're like, oh, I'm going to make a lot of money because I'm going to sell to my podcast guests. Don't you dare do that, because what's going to happen is you are going to make people feel so awful about your initial generosity, and you're going to do a bait and switch on them, and they are going to hate you. They are going to actively hate you. That's like going on a date with someone and finding out that they had an ulterior motive all along. Again, remember, whatever your intention is, you project it. We'll already know. Like you can't fool anybody. So stop with that. Okay. So get your head straight first, which is why I've spent so much time on that side of it. Okay. If you are in that personality, you'll find that the mechanics become much easier. Again, for us, platform. Okay. So it doesn't have to be a podcast. If you have a decent audience on LinkedIn, if you have a decent audience on another social media platform, in what ways can you collaborate with other people so that in a way, okay. So again, in the world of, because I've done a lot of background. My background is in media and authority and that sort of thing. So if you, on a scale from 1 to 10, authority wise in your industry, you're a 4. The 7s and 8s, that's a big ask. To reach up from a 4 to a 7 and 8 and say, hey, why don't you hire me kind of thing. It's a big ask. Sure. It's going to be really hard. Your conversion rate is going to be very, very low. You're better off working with the 4s and 5s at that point until you improve your authority. Okay, but here's the secret. Here's how you can get up multiple levels. You have to the way to network up is you have to perform acts of service. So in our old case, one thing that I would do is I would identify clients that would be my dream customers to work with, and I would offer to update or give them a free LinkedIn profile makeover. Now, my approach to that is say, listen, I just want to thank you so much. I just spent, the past several hours listening to a back catalog of your podcast or YouTube videos or whatever. I just want to say thank you so much. And I was just, I was so impressed with that. Is there something I can do for you? As a way of saying thank you. You don't need to buy anything. I'm just, look, I do LinkedIn profile makeovers. I'd be happy to do that completely pro bono. Do you have the courage to do that? And I'm talking, listener, I'm talking to you right now. Do you have the courage to do that? Many marketers do not. They don't have the huevos to do it. And so because they're afraid, they're dealing with a scarcity mindset. But here's the thing. If you invest into 100 relationships, it's going to take you some time. It really is. Okay. I believe on the whole, you will not be able to outgive the market. So what's going to happen is those people are going, it's like there would be no up my influence. This is not my first 7-figure company. Okay. Savings Angel, I've been doing very well. I just started serving pro bono in my local startup community. And because of that, serving on boards, blah, 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 doing pro bono mentoring workshops, that sort of thing, women-owned, minority-owned, military veteran-owned businesses. But the other board members started seeing me in action doing the thing. They started asking if they could hire me, because I was just out there doing my thing, and I'm not concerned about the money short term. I know that long term, where you plant your seeds is not necessarily where you'll reap your harvest. Oh, there's another good tweet.
That's a good.
That's why there's not my influence, because people started asking if they could hire me. And I was like, I guess I don't know. I wasn't even thinking about it.
Well, so let's break this down a little bit, because I feel like you gave a bunch of nuggets in there that I want to sort of reiterate, loop back on. Podcasting, I think, is an incredible opportunity, right? Yeah. It's no secret that our show, we are literally doing exactly what we just talked about, right? Like this show. Okay, so we're marketing, sales and marketing software, right? So we start a podcast. What is it about? It's not about sales and marketing podcasts or sales and marketing software, right? This show's about marketers, the larger industry. We bring folks on who could potentially be affiliates or customers, but we don't talk about our software, right? We talk about how can we help listeners? And that's what we do on the show. And that gives me the opportunity to give something to someone. Hey, would you like to be a guest on our show? We have a viewership of X amount of folks. 99% of people will say yes if you invite them onto a podcast, even if your podcast is brand new. I promise you, it's an ego thing. We all jump at the opportunity to be a guest.
Significance. Yeah. Significance is one of the core human needs. And that is, it's an easy give. Because it doesn't.
Good point, though. You don't want to bait and switch. You don't want to get them on and then start.
Hell no! Do not do that.
But it's a very great opportunity to have a nice chat on your podcast, have a nice little quick chat afterwards.
Yeah.
And then you get to follow up with them when you let them know it's going live. And there's plenty of times to just have conversations.
It is the ultimate, this is the way it is. Podcasting is the ultimate networking tool. And if you're just using it to try to curry favor and build an audience and sell to your audience, it'll work. It's just going to take you a long time.
For sure.
So I'm the personality type, by the way. When I'm on stage, I'm there to serve. I do way more business in the green room than I do on stage. Sure. That's historically, that's always been the case for me anyway. So this fits my personality well.
You gave me some other ideas that I think are fantastic in the same vein, right? I think the theme in my mind is you've got to start creating, whether it's a podcast or a Twitter channel or whatever it is, where let's say you're great at copy, like you said, you could just say, okay, I'm going to spend an hour a day going to potential customers' sites or whatever, and rewriting something for them. And then I'm going to tweet it out there and tag them. And if they want to take it and use it, great. If not, no big deal. But they're going to know that I took the time to do this for them. And quickly, you will create a network of people that are sharing and contact you and reaching out. And how much do you charge to do that? Like I saw you did that amazing headline for so-and-so. Our copy sucks. Can we talk? That I think is incredible. Website makeovers, if you're a designer, like there's a million things that you could do if you just took like an hour a day. Start creating a channel for yourself, wherever it makes sense, if it's LinkedIn or Twitter or YouTube or whatever it is. It's very easy. It snowballs very quickly in my experience. Yeah. And it's so if you listen, if you go and look at there's plenty to fix, but you go to my website, you go to whatever, just provide me some help or whatever like that. Yeah. And then I'm probably going to thank you very publicly and graciously. And then if you follow it up with, an offer to help, no, not a sales, don't sell yet. Okay. Because again, you never sell until you've gauged need and interest. You have to let the other person open the door. So it's a dance, right? You're looking for buying signals. And if you push before they're ready to let you into their space, you're going to get, you can't really see, but it's just, they're going to back up. That's what they're going to do. So, listen very closely for the language that people use, and that will give you indications of when it's appropriate to put your arm around them, but give them a kiss, hold their hand, right? This is very simple stuff. But yet again, it's amazing how many marketers, because they're in a hurry, because the scarcity, because the desperation, again, I don't want to make anyone feel bad. If you've been doing a very transactional, pushy, salesy kind of thing, because that's what you were taught, I want to let you know that that's totally normal. Like it's like we're all in that journey. We're all learning. We're all trying to improve and become a better version of ourselves each day. So please don't take what I'm saying and let it make you feel bad or make you hate me or whatever like that. I appreciate where you're at. When I get spammy DMs, I'm not upset at that person. I feel badly that someone sold them a bill of goods was the key to their riches. I'm not saying that doesn't work. I'm just saying you're going to create a lot of collateral damage in the meantime, and you're going to end up, like a bull in a china shop. You're going to end up knocking over a lot of stuff, and you're going to bother a lot of people. You're going to be perceived as an annoying pest. Wouldn't you rather be a welcome guest? Hey, another tweet. That is another tweet. And I like that one.
The tweet machine, all of a sudden.
Yeah, you're on fire. We definitely talk a lot about cold outreach, and look, it works for sure. It works, but like you said, you do create a lot of collateral damage. That's for sure. Like
I feel icky for me. And again, I'm probably
unless it's really creative.
If you have a personality where you've got Teflon skin, you could care less if you offend people, or you care less if you get, someone, offended at your approach or whatever. Cool. Keep whatever, man. God made you that way. Rock on. But if you identify with some of the things that I'm sharing, emotionally, and, this sense of like, who am I and what am I destined for and why am I here? I truly believe, human connection is one of our core values at Up My Influence. And so, if I'm truly Simon Sinek, start with why, my values should be able to define all of my activity. And if one of my values is human connection and democratization and, equity and all those sorts of ideas, I better play in that space. My activity better represent who I profess to be. Otherwise, I'm going to be out of alignment. People are going to sense it, and it's going to be awful.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we've established the big first sort of milestone or hurdle, or what you need to figure out first is, what can you give? What can you give to people?
Well, okay. So I would, yes, assuming you foundationally, you've got the philosophy that I would go read Go Giver first.
A good mindset.
Then, listen, don't rush this. Like, it's okay if we kind of back up a little bit, we put on the proper padding, we kind of get our head straight, we do some stretching, whatever you got to do, right? Because I don't want you to go and, here's my fear, Chase, of I don't want someone to go out, start being generous, not make sales in the first couple of weeks, and then say, that's it, it doesn't work. Oh, I assure you it works. I assure you it works.
And I would say, I would counter that though. If you start thinking about what you could give that is of value, you'll find that you enjoy it, right? So like, once you start doing that, I don't think I would hope that most people wouldn't give up after a month. I would hope that they would say, this is actually great, right? I really enjoy writing copy. So once a day, I actually get to be creative. There's no pressure.
Yeah.
I'm building an audience, and wow, all of a sudden, you're going to start seeing the results of that. So don't do it if something that you've got a 1 month deadline, or you're going to give up on it.
No. Go get a job or something like that. So if you're too stressed with money that you're going to end up being sloppy in the sales realm, that's a tough position to be in. So, here's, kind of like, you will, in the process of learning, and so get your head straight, then start doing the thing, right? And here's what I know. It is that the market is going to reflect back to you, and you need to be responsive to the market, because the market, Chase, is a lot smarter than you. It's a lot smarter than me. It's a lot smarter than our friend who's listening to our conversation right now. You have to trust the market. So if the market responds overwhelmingly with, wow, thank you, like, that's good. That's good. That's what you want. If they're not, then you need to. So a car that is parked in the driveway, it's hard to redirect the car and go a different direction because you're parked. So you want to be out there moving and just start giving it. Some people hate this, okay? But if you're early stage in business, just start giving it away for free. Just go out and do the thing. You don't have to tell everyone that you're giving it away for free. But again, for people that are A-listers, you better believe I am insanely generous. I am going to invest into those relationships. If you're not at the level where clearly, it doesn't look like you'd have the budget or whatever like that, I'm going to give to you in a different way, right? Because I don't have the bandwidth to, serve everybody that has aspirations of starting a business. I don't have I'm only one person, even with our team, there's only, so for that audience that hasn't, kind of qualified themselves, because one of our core values is democratization. That's why we create lots of content. At our website, how we use Go High Level is we do an assessment quiz. We do a quiz. What's your number one lead generation blocker? Then they go through a masterclass. And I tell people at the very beginning, relax. I'm not going to sell anything to you. Like, I have nothing for sale during this masterclass. Now it's just relax. I'm going to help you solve this lead generation problem once and for all. Then after that, after the masterclass, then I will give them an assessment. And based on 100% what they want to do, who they are, what their motivations are, I'll either say, hey, great, doesn't look like you're really ready to, make investments. Totally no problem. Here's some books you can get from the library. Here's some, groups, all the free stuff I can possibly come up with, right? Or, again, based on the results of that, I may say, well, listen, you might be a candidate for a coaching, here's what that looks like. Or, it looks like you might be appropriate. We should chat. In other words, it looks like they're super qualified. Let's grab 30 minutes. Let's explore. May or may not be a fit for us, but let's at least have a chat and figure that out. Right. And by the way, I am never going to be the type that you need to buy our product right now. I'm never going to do fake scarcity. I'm just not going to do any of that stuff, because the moment I do, people know exactly what I'm trying to pull on them. It's not worth it. Just be very transparent and honest with people.
So I like what you're talking about now, because this is sort of like a secondary tactic, right? If I go out, I'm going to start producing content.
Yes, this would be for the lower ticket stuff. Yeah, that we're talking about now.
Yeah, so they're going to make their way over to my website. They're going to check me out, and you've got this quiz there. And we used to do this at the agency I used to run, which was sort of take a health test of your business's website, and they'd put in their information, and we would leverage automated tools. It would just, scan a bunch of things, spit out a report. And then from there, it's like, okay, so here's free value. You got this report. It's telling you that your site's missing this, this, and this, and this.
Yep.
Great.
Awesome.
Now
that would be something that's valuable for a different audience. Very few concierge clients or high ticket level people are going to do what I just explained. I want to make sure I don't forget. I don't know how we're doing on time here, but there's one thing I do want to point out, that this is so critical when it comes to Go High Level and how we use Go High Level for high ticket clients. And that is that your high ticket clients, now, once you start to build this relationship, I'll never forget, I had one conversation with a guy that was selling like $60,000 branding packages. I said, great. What happens after your first call, that you do with them? He says, I put them on an email drip campaign. And I was like, spit take, what? Do not do that. Like, if you did that to me, I would feel so awful. I feel like we had something nice here, and now you're just marketing and selling at me. That's weird. Don't do that. So here's what we do. So in Go High Level, and I feel like, boy, we've really spent a lot of brain. And by the way, I have to tell you, a lot of what I'm teaching you and what I'm sharing, not you, everybody here, is this is the result of thousands of mistakes. So I'm not here to tell you, I'm really smart. I'm not. We've just failed our way so many times. We finally feel like, we're in a pretty good groove now. But here's what you have to get really good at this, right? And so we use Go High Level and the automations, the workflows, and so forth to create sales stages and sales cadences. And really, if you're in account-based sales and account-based marketing, get really, really good at mapping out what your stages are. What's the last major thing that happened for this user? And then you need to have a cadence for what are you going to do for the next 30 days or so with a person that you had a discovery call, but you have not had a sales call, for example, right? So you would have 30 days worth of activity, and every single day, you and your team have tasks. We do a lot of manual tasks, all right, which I'm okay with, right? Now, that said, the manual tasks, a lot of those have templates that my team will use. However, what I don't want, here's the most important thing. When it comes to really good sales stages and cadences, do not do stuff that leads your customers to believe that they are being automated. For big ticket sales, you can't do that, because if you start automating on me, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start checking out. This isn't you. This is just the bot. I don't need that. I'm like, I'll talk with you. But the second that you start like just putting me in the, lumping me in with everybody, I don't feel so special. And it kind of really cools the relationship. So listen, my friends who do account-based sales and you have a problem with people ghosting you, that's probably your problem, is you're turning people off. You're showing up in their life in a salesy, naggy way. People don't want to be, hey, just checking in on you. When are we going to get you into that new Buick? Right? If that's how you're showing up and they're ghosting you, there's your problem. Yeah. Right. So again, you just keep showing up like a friend, keep showing up very personal, which is why we use manual tasks, because there's only me and a couple of other key team members that know my voice really well. Man, there's some other really clever stuff that we figured out with, how we use BombBomb, which is or sending video mails. Like, I mean, we've really worked this out. We're going to continue that pattern of generosity, because just like I said, don't stop giving. So the only reason I stop giving is when somebody says, I definitely don't want to do anything with you right now, whatever. Like, cool. Oh, awesome. Not a problem. Otherwise, if they give me buying signals, I'm going to keep on doing nice stuff for them if I can tell that they're otherwise qualified. And you know what? If somebody, it's so rare because I get this question a lot from newbie business owners or scarcity minded marketers. But what happens if someone takes your stuff and they don't pay you? I'm okay with that because here's why. They were never going to give you money to begin with. So it's not a lost sale. It's just they're a taker. And that's
Sure.
so rare. And because, and again, if you're generally dealing with a high ticket and you filter those people. So like, for example, like if the source of like 90% of our concierge client conversations are our podcast guests. So to become a guest on the podcast, you have to be making six figures and beyond in your company to begin with. Then my team's going to go check you out, and you got to check all the boxes.
You're not going to be a taker if you pass that filter.
No, absolutely not. And listen, I have been 100% inbound for 32 months in a row. I do zero advertising. I am always booked out, and you can go look at my schedule right now, the podcast guest schedule right now. I am always booked out 6 to 8 weeks in advance. And this got awesome. To be such an issue. So this is crazy because what I know is 6 to 8 weeks, and then their episode doesn't even air for another 8 weeks. Right. That's how long. And I do a daily show every single. And there's months we've actually done 2 episodes a day. And I just how am I able to do that? I show up, I hit my mark, I record probably about 10 interviews a week. I'm 30 minutes in and out. I show up, hit my mark. The team takes care of everything. That's 5 hours out of my, 40-ish hour work week. I can do that. That's not that hard.
Speaking of hitting our mark, I can't.
I know. We're going over.
Already. I do need to stop you from giving at this point. And I do want to ask real quick, if people want to hear more, I feel like we're leaving them with kind of a cliffhanger. We're going to have to bring you back again, but where could they go to learn more from you after?
Yeah, feel free to, like I said, the lead, what's your number one lead generation blocker quiz? And by the way, I'm telling you, there's no sales on the quiz. Then you watch the masterclass. I'm just warning, there's no sales there. Okay. The assessment, there might be, it depends on how you take the assessment. If you take the assessment and you're like, no, I'm looking for free stuff right now, I am going to honor the heck out of that. And I'll be like, awesome. I've been there, and you'll even see the video. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to, introduce my favorite books and blah, blah, blah. And so you don't need to give me any money. Like, I'm good. Like, we're good on sales. If I never made another sale, I would be a happy man. I have a mandate of my company and so forth, but generally, no, I'm fine. Right. So yeah, go to, and that, by the way, that he hasn't even given the website over. I can't believe this guy. So the website is www.upmyinfluence.com, upmyinfluence.com. That's where you'll see the quiz. If you're in a position, listen, you're B2B or an agency owner, consultant, coach, and you are rocking it in business, like you're doing 6 figures and beyond, well, love to have you as a guest on the podcast. So you'll see again at that same website, just click on podcast, you'll see the guest link and stuff, and, go ahead and get scheduled up. I'd love to, we've got over 130,000 on social. I'd love to celebrate your story.
Nice. Awesome. Well, that's upmyinfluence.com, guys. Josh, thank you so much for coming on and sharing all these nuggets with us, these tweetable tweets.
Thank you, Chase.
Thank you guys for watching. We will see you in the next one.